Hey everyone, welcome to our explainer. Today, we are diving into something that's at the absolute heart of every software project. Why is it so hard to get what you actually ask for?
It's so true. As a developer, I see this play out all the time. And that disconnect, it almost always boils down to one thing: the difference between user and system requirements.
I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? You get this new piece of software that's supposed to make your life easier, but it just doesn't. It's this super common, super frustrating problem, and today we're going to get right to the root of why it keeps happening. Right. And that frustration, that massive gap between what you expect and what you get, it almost always starts with a really costly misunderstanding. It's a communication breakdown that can mess up a project way before a developer like me even thinks about writing a single line of code. It all starts with the requirements.
Exactly. So from my perspective, I'm just focused on the goal. What do I need this system to do? I'm telling you the destination I want to get to.
And on my end, I need the blueprint. I need to know how, step by step, the system is going to do that. I need that detailed map to get us to your destination. They're not fighting each other. One is simply the what, and the other is the how.
It really feels like we're speaking two completely different languages sometimes. I think the best way to see this in action is to look at a real-world example from one of the case studies we reviewed.
Okay, so let's say I'm working at a medical clinic. My request seems super simple and clear. I need to be able to search through the appointment lists for all the clinics in our network. That's it. That's my goal. It's what I need to get my job done. And you know what? That is a perfect user requirement. Seriously. It's a high-level statement, written in plain English, that tells us exactly what the system needs to do from the customer's point of view. It's the absolute best place to start. But, and this is a big but, for me to actually build that one sentence just isn't enough. My brain immediately starts firing off questions. Search by what? Patient name, date of birth, the doctor? And what happens if there are thousands of appointments? How fast does that search need to be? Are there any privacy rules about who can see what? Your goal is crystal clear, but all the technical details are missing. And that's exactly where system requirements come in. It's my job to take your what, your goal, and translate it into this structured, super detailed description of all the system's functions and limitations. This document basically becomes our contract. It defines precisely what needs to be built.
Okay, that makes sense. So there's this obvious gap between my big picture goal and your detailed blueprint. So Liam, how do we actually bridge that gap? How do we make sure that the search function I'm imagining is the one I actually get in the end?
Well, it's really a process of refinement. We start with your high-level goal, right? Search appointments. Then we work together to start layering in all those technical details, and that's how we create the system requirements. This is where we nail down the specifics, like which fields you can search by, performance goals, like results must appear in under 2 seconds, and any security constraints. Once we combine your user goal with all these technical specs, boom, we get clear, actionable tasks for the dev team. We often just call these functional requirements. So it's not really user versus system requirements at all, is it? It's more like they're two sides of the same coin. My vision sets the direction, and your technical blueprint provides the step-by-step instructions. You absolutely can't build a successful product without both. Exactly. And when that translation process goes wrong, it's not just frustrating. It leads to wasted time, blown budgets, failed projects. The impact it has on the final product and, your happiness with it is just enormous. Yeah, this table lays it out perfectly. If the requirements are poor, the system might not even do the basic thing I asked for. That's what we call functional dissatisfaction.
Right. Or maybe it technically works, but it's painfully slow, it crashes constantly, or it's not secure. That's a failure of what we call non-functional requirements. All that stuff like performance, reliability, and usability. Good requirements have to cover both.
And this is just so critical from a user's perspective. I mean, think about it. A feature that works but takes 30 seconds to load is basically a broken feature to me. A system that technically does its job but is a total nightmare to navigate will get abandoned by users. Real success means you're hitting the mark on all 3 of these bars, no question. Which brings us to the ultimate goal here. The whole point of this entire process isn't just about building a system correctly according to some technical spec sheet. It's about a partnership to make absolutely sure we're building the right system in the first place. In the engineering world, we have 2 key terms for this: verification and validation. My system requirements, they help with verification. That's asking, are we building the product right? according to the technical blueprint.
In my user requirements, they drive validation. That's asking the bigger question. Are we building the right product? A product that actually solves my problem and fits my real-world needs? You gotta have both to succeed.
All right, so let's do a quick recap of the big takeaways. First up, user requirements define the what, the big picture goal. Next, system requirements define the how, all the technical details needed to get there.
Right, and remember, translating between those two is what gives you clear functional requirements. This whole process is crucial for ensuring total satisfaction, making sure the software not only works, but is also fast, reliable, and actually pleasant to use.
And probably the most important point of all, success is a partnership. It absolutely requires the user's vision and the developer's blueprint to be working in perfect harmony. And that partnership really is everything. So we'll leave you with this to think about. On your next project, how are you going to make sure that the user's voice and the developer's blueprint are perfectly aligned? Because getting that right from the very beginning, well, that makes all the difference. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.